Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to this evening's meeting of the Crestwood Board of Education. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:18 and invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Cinia, the roll call, please.
Yes, Mrs. Antonick is absent. Mrs. Berry? Here. Mrs. Fawaz? Here. Mr. Garcia?
Here.
Mrs. Kaminsky?
Here.
Mrs. Kazanish?
Here.
And myself, Madam President, you have a quorum.
7:13. All right, and Ms. Cinia, the consent agenda, please.
Yes, Board of Education approval is recommended for the items listed on the consent agenda, which include the September 9th, 2019 Board Agenda, the minutes from the study session on Monday, August 26, 2019, the minutes from the regular meeting on Monday, August 26, 2019, and the check register dated August 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2019.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by Lynn and supported by Ed that the items listed on the consent agenda be approved and include the September 9th, 2019 board agenda, the minutes from the study session on Monday, August 26, 2019, the minutes from the regular meeting on Monday, August 26, 2019, and the check register dated August 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2019. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like it noted that check number A03863,
80.
A03863, I have a problem with, and I'm hoping maybe the motion can be amended to not include that check.
We can do that.
When you make the motion.
Pardon me?
Actually,
We have to do it
Chair,
now.
There's quite a
You
few
have to
checks.
amend. You made the motion, Lynn, so you have to amend.
Excluding check number A03863?
Yes,
Correct.
please.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Did you have?
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay. No.
Nay.
No.
Got that?
Yep.
Okay, and the personnel report. That would be...
That would be me. Good
Yes,
evening,
hi, Dr. King.
Madam Chair. I have two action items and one informational item. Aquatics Manager recommendation, Caitlin Davies. Athletic Director Shelley Volmar and I interviewed for the Aquatics Manager position on August the 27th, 2019. Caitlin Davies is recommended for this position. Caitlin was an assistant swim coach with the Southern Michigan Aquatics Club from September 2011 to December 2013. A seasonal lifeguard at Brookwood Swim Club 2015 to 2016, a seasonal lifeguard at Holiday Camp Incorporated from June 2015 to August 2015, a lifeguard, swim instructor, and aquatics director at the Jefferson Recreation Center March 2014 through January 2018. Yeah. I just skipped my page.
Oh, okay.
The aquatics coordinator at the GSHOM camps beginning September 2018 to the present, and is a present deck manager and swim instructor with the Crestwood Sea Turtle Swim School. She has her lifeguard certification, CPR certification, first aid certification, and her AED certification. Caitlin had a second interview and is being highly recommended for the aquatics manager position.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Kaminsky.
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the hiring of Caitlin Davies as the aquatics manager position with the Crestwood School District, subject to her acquiring her Red Cross lifeguard instructor certification within 6 months of hire.
Support?
All righty. It's been moved by Sue and supported by Ms. Cinia that we approve the hiring of Caitlin Davies as an assistant swim coach with Southern Eastern Michigan Aquatics. I'm sorry, I went
okay.
over It's been it's been moved that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the hiring of Caitlin Davies as the aquatics manager position with Crestwood School District, subject to her acquiring her Red Cross lifeguard instructor certification within 6 months of hire. All those in favor? Oh, any discussion?
Yes.
Yes. Sella.
Personally, I don't think this is enough qualifications for our students. I think our students deserve better. To just be a lifeguard and have a CPR certification is not good. I think this needs to get reposted and we get somebody better qualified.
Any other? Do you have anything?
Madam President, the program, from my understanding, though, has nothing to do with our current staff here and students. The program is an after-school special program that community members sign up with their family and their children.
Like a Parks
The
and
previous aquatics manager brought this program back into I don't know if I can even put a dollar amount on it. I want to say it was under $1 million, $900,000 or whatever he was able to raise. Yeah, I don't remember what the number was. Yeah,
Revenues are approximately 90,000.
or 90,000 when in full. And it's a program that when parents and students were not available, they had to find someplace else to go, and this is probably one of the better ones in the area. I think it's
I'm not
It's a
questioning
good
the
program.
program. I'm questioning the candidate.
Well, my concern is that we're hiring her without her certification.
I think you may be misunderstanding. The Red
It says
Cross
here,
lifeguard instructor certification is so that she can certify other lifeguards.
Okay, well, that's
So
not how
it's-
it's written here. Subject to her acquiring her Red Cross lifeguard instructor certification.
That's what it is.
Instructor.
As an instructor to certify other lifeguards.
so she does.
She had that in the past, it's lapsed, so that's why the condition is in the,
Yeah.
Right.
she does have
Yes,
the-
sir.
So she is legitimately a lifeguard.
Yes.
She's got the certification to be a lifeguard herself. She just can't.
train other
Certify
lifeguards
others.
and certify them.
So according to what you said, this is the only candidate that put in for this job.
You are correct.
So, I mean, personally, I think we need to repost the job, and I understand it was before, but I'd like to have it reposted, and I'd like to get somebody better qualified.
Madam
That'd be
Chair.
better for our,
Yes.
May I
sir.
add details? This is a program for young children and seniors.
Right, so
If we don't fill this, like I said, this was the second time it's been posted. We had one applicant. If we don't hire someone now, there will be no fall classes. Having no classes, we didn't have classes last year because the pool was under construction. I question whether this program would be viable if we lose another season. So it's like, do you want this program? Actually, I think it's a great thing for the community. It prevents our residents from taking their small children to Dearborn or Livonia. They can do it in-house. Caitlin's been with the program for years. She was recommended by the previous director, Trevor. She's managed the pool at Jefferson, so she has practical experience. I think she's qualified for the position.
Well, why don't we bring it to a vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
no.
Okay, the motion carries.
Thank you. Speech-language pathologist recommendation, Tiffany Hazano. Interviews for a speech-language pathologist were conducted on Wednesday, September the 4th, 2019. The interview committee members included Mena Mawad, Director of Special Services, Dennis Folletti, Riverside Middle School Assistant Principal, and Alice Rinke, Highview Elementary School Principal. The committee recommends Tiffany Hazano for this position. Tiffany graduated from Wayne State University in 2016, where she earned her Bachelor of Arts degree with her major area of study in Communication Sciences and Disorders. She went on to earn her Master's of Arts in Speech-Language Pathology in 2019, also from Wayne State University. Tiffany has experience evaluating and treating speech, language, and social and fluency disorders in children and adolescents between the ages of 2 years to 14 years of age. She has also assessed and treated speech, language, cognitive, executive functioning, and right hemisphere deficits in adults. Tiffany has participated in literacy groups, multidisciplinary meetings, and individualized education plan meetings. She has conducted parent training programs to educate the importance of literacy. Tiffany is a member of the Michigan Speech Language Hearing Association, the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, the Wayne State Speech Language Hearing Association, and the Golden Key International Honor Society. Tiffany had a second interview on Thursday, September the 5th, and is being recommended for the speech language pathologist position.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Berry.
I move that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the probationary contract for Tiffany. No. For 2019-2020 school year for Schedule 4A2, pending receipt of official transcripts, employer copy of current Michigan documentation. I believe you did that. I'm so sorry. As required by law and subject to her meeting all requirements for employment as a speech language pathologist.
Can you get it out?
In Michigan Public Schools.
Okay.
Wow.
Is there support?
Support.
Okay, now let me get through it.
Can't
She's
believe
made
you
me.
did that.
Okay, it's been moved by Nadia and supported by Sue that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the probationary contract for Tiffany Hassano for the 2019-2020 school year per Schedule 4A2, pending receipt of official transcripts, employer copy of current Michigan documentation as required by law, and subject to her meeting all requirements for employment as a speech language pathologist in Michigan public schools. Is there any discussion?
Yes. So for this one, I actually think that this actually looks good. And I like the fact that she's a recent graduate because I think it brings fresh eyes to our district. However, I'd like to be consistent, and we did not get the other resumes to review up until an hour ago, and we specifically said at the last meeting that we would stop this practice. So for myself, I would have to just to vote no, because I would just be against the process, not necessarily the candidate.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I want to
That's
echo that.
interesting.
We asked for that paperwork to be brought forward, and there's no reason that it should have been brought an hour before.
Now I understand her frustration, and I apologize.
It is very frustrating.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I also agree that we had asked for it. However, because of the district's dire need for speech pathologists and at the detriment to our students if we don't approve this right now because we are so short-staffed, I would just like to say in the future we would like the resumes in our Friday packets. We have a few days to review them, and I would urge my colleagues to move forth with this for our kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaminsky. I would agree with that.
It's
I know
always
that it has been asked. I know that it didn't come when we wanted it, but we are in dire need, and I would ask that you guys possibly would vote this in, and from here on out, no questions asked. If we don't get resumes before the meeting, we will have to vote no. But this is very needed, so let's...
Madam President,
Yes.
I understand, and I understand what you're saying. I think it needs to be very, very explicit to the administration. We are telling you that, I'm not sure
I couldn't have
exactly
said it
what
better.
that information needs to be in our packets on Friday. No questions asked.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to say no, just because I stick to my word.
They have the floor. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Sorry. She's right about
You made
that
the
one.
motion, Mrs.
I
Barrett.
made the motion,
Mrs.
but I
Barrett.
didn't realize what she was saying. She caught me off guard. Sorry.
4-2.
Oh,
Thank you. Tiffany is not here. I forgot to recognize Caitlin. She is here, so welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I have one informational item. Crestwood School District hiring process. Recently, the hiring process for the district has been questioned, and so I would like to give a short summary of the process. A vacancy for staff is advertised on the Wayne County system called Applitrack, the state system in Mesa, the Michigan Association of School Administrators, which can be accessed within and outside the county, several local colleges, Access, ADC, on Twitter and Facebook. Second, once the posting ends, the superintendent and all other relevant supervisors go through the applications and narrow the field. Depending upon the position, as many as a dozen or as few as one or two are scheduled for an interview. Third, a team of administrators interviews and scores the interviewees using a rubric. Scores are recorded, and the top one or two candidates are recommended for a second interview by the superintendent. 4, I have only taken the recommended candidates for board approval after background reference calls are completed. And 5, the board has given the resumes of the recommended candidate and runner-up for reference before approval at the board meeting, and I understand the concerns of the board. I will provide the resumes earlier, but I do caution this is personal information, so I expect that personal information to stay private. So that's why I haven't provided them earlier, but I will provide them now in the Friday updates.
Madam Chair, if I may, I'm going to have to respond to that because what has happened is you have tied our hands and you have forced us to ask for these things because some of the things that have come out have not been very accurate, and I apologize that I have to say that. So the more accurate and more transparent you are on a lot of this stuff, the less questions we have to ask. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, may I respond?
Yes, you may.
I had a life previous to Crestwood. I worked in Dearborn for 15 years as a teacher, as an administrator, and one of the major pushes of the district at the time were teaching core values to students. And every classroom had the poster on the wall, core values, honesty, integrity, respect for self and others, responsibility, and citizenship. And that was an easy task for me because that's how I've lived my life. I am honest. I do show integrity. I will not recommend anyone to this board that is not the top recommendation of the interview committee. That's not going to happen under my watch. So I just want that to be clear.
Thank you. Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay, I asked Dr. Clevis in our study session, but I couldn't remember where I read the hiring practice, so I want to ask him again. So our current employees, the positions are posted in the building?
Yes.
And then how do they go about that process? I mean, do they post and they write on the sheet of paper that they want the position and then that gets turned in?
No.
Do they turn in an application? Do they?
They still need to go into AppleTrack, which is an electronic platform that they have to fill all their resume information, their background, their experience, and that's where we choose our candidates. And appropriate licensing.
So anyone that wants to be considered for a position that's posted, whether or not they're on
Internal or
external,
Still
all go
have
through
to
the
apply.
Okay.
Is it open to internal candidates for a certain period of time before it goes external,
No.
or it's open to both at the same time?
It's open to both.
You need
at
to go
same
with the
time.
most qualified, no matter who it is, internal or external.
Right.
I agree.
Yep.
That's not what's happening.
Well, I think this is a good time to say I got the board packet this week, and I want to thank you, Richard, for giving us the Optimist Creed. I needed it at that time. I needed to hear the positive affirmations.
I have to credit Deanna Shaheen. It was in her weekly update, not
Where is
mine.
she? Thank you so much. That meant so much to me. I was feeling really down about things that were happening, and it gave me fight to go on. So thank you very much.
What is that? Is that the speaker?
They're testing things, I think.
Oh, I thought that was Mr.
Yeah.
Bassey's phone.
No, Mr. Bassey's phone. Okay, moving on. The business report, Mr. April, nothing tonight?
I do not.
And curriculum?
Back to me. I have one informational item. M-STEP results. I'm pleased to share the 2019 Spring State Assessment results. Our Crestwood students continue to excel and show gains in academic achievement as measured by M-STEP test. While these assessments are important, they're just one measure of success. When you visit our schools, you see firsthand how our staff empower students to be college and or career ready, to lead with kindness and empathy, and to develop into well-rounded individuals who will contribute to a positive future. This success doesn't happen alone. First and foremost, our success starts at home, and I'm so proud that our parents value a great education. Our teachers are dedicated to student achievement, and the administrative team keeps everyone focused on our primary mission. Our school district has strong community support, business partnerships, and parents who make learning a priority. The state results. English language arts and math scores on the 2019 Michigan Student test of educational progress showed little change from 2018 based on results released by the Michigan Department of Education. The M-STEP ELA and math tests were administered in the spring of 2019 to public school students in grades 3 through 7. For the first time, Michigan 8th graders took the PSAT test instead of the M-STEP and ELA and math. English language arts scores showed modest gains in grades 3, 4, and 6, as did math scores for 3, 5, and 6. That was the state results. Our district results. Crestwood saw scores higher than the state average at the 3rd, 4th, and 8th grade levels. We are below the state average in middle school in grades 6, 5, 6, and 7. However, the gap has narrowed in 4 of the 7 areas since last year. The parent dashboard for school transparency, which is available to anyone, can be found at https://www.mysschooldata.org/parent dashboard. The dashboard is a combined effort of the MDE and the Center for Educational Performance and Information, based on significant parent feedback on its planning, content, and design. CEPI Director Tom Howe said that the parent dashboard shows nearly 20 separate measures that parents say are important to them. Families, and this is a quote, families and others can use the dashboard to compare a school's performance with the average performance of other similar Michigan schools, including charter schools. This site is user-friendly and can be accessed on any computer or mobile device. The dashboard allows deeper dives into the performance of various groups of students, such as gender, race, subject, and services to students. There is still work to be done, and it's clear we're on the right track. Crestwood has made great strides in several areas, and it can be directly attributed to the curricular updates we're making and the professionals who continue to deliver top-notch instruction. A new math curriculum was implemented over the last 2 years in grades 5 through 8, and we're seeing tangible results of that change. Our goal is to keep analyzing our data and make student-driven decisions that best impact classroom learning. I am so proud of Crestwood and fortunate to work alongside such dedicated staff. Together, we will continue to accomplish great things.
Wonderful. Sounded so nice. Okay, is that all, Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to special ed.
Well, good evening. I have one informational item, special education parent advisory meeting, special education mediation. The topic is special education mediation. A special education parent advisory meeting, special education mediation. Sometimes in the process of developing programs and services for students with a disability, it becomes difficult for the IP team to agree on what might be the most appropriate program or service for a child in the educational environment. The Michigan Special Education Mediation Program, otherwise known as MSEMP, a federally funded and mandated activity by the Michigan Department of Education Office of Special Education, is available to the IEP team free of charge. The program provides services through the Community Dispute Resolution.
Scared the crap out of me. Recess.
The program provides services through the Community Dispute Resolution Program, a network of conflict resolution centers across the state. The mediation process is a voluntary process available to the parents and schools. The mediation process brings a trained mediator to the table to help with communication and to assist with resolving these issues. On Thursday, September 19, 2019, Valerie Murphy Goodrich from the Wayne County Dispute Resolution Center will lead a presentation on the special education mediation process in our district during the first PAC meeting. Parents and community members are invited to attend at 6 p.m. The meeting will be held in the Riverside Auditorium.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to proactively let the community know that this board will be undergoing a lot of meetings with the search for a superintendent. And if you do not see board members at some meetings, possibly this one, please do not take it for a lack of interest. It's because we have conflicts in our schedule for the rest of September and into October. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that, because we might not be able to make some of the open houses because of our superintendent search, and please bear with us. Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. I have 4 action items and 4 informational items. Excursion field trip request, Crestwood High School. Attached is an excursion field trip request from Mr. Matt Reidenauer, Crestwood High School Band Director, for his high school band students to travel to Central Michigan University to take part in their annual band day for marching band. The requested date is September the 13th through September the 14th, 2019. See attachment 8A1.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Berry.
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the excursion field trip request from Mr. Matt Reidenauer for the Crestwood High School band students to go to Central Michigan University on September 13th, 2019, and return on September 14th, 2019, as per attachment 8A1.
Support.
Support by Lynn.
Yeah.
All righty. Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Zinnia and supported by, moved by Nadia Berry and supported by Lynn Zinnia, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the excursion field trip request from Mr. Matt Reidenauer for the Crestwood High School band students to go to Central Michigan University on September 13th, 2019, and returning on September 14th, 2019, as per attachment 8A1. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
President,
Mr. Garcia.
I guess my only concern is if they knew they were doing this, because I would not vote against it, but shouldn't this come to the board a lot sooner? I mean, this is just 4 days in advance.
We've said this many
Many
times to
times.
Mr. Reidenauer.
Yeah.
And it is, they have done this before.
Yes,
Yes.
they have.
Oh, no, I know they have,
it
but I
is-
mean,
This particular one is
Yes.
not a new one.
yeah,
It's
so I mean, I
something
would
that
have known, I
happens.
would like to see this
He knows
a
it
month
is.
ago.
Yeah.
And the policy, I believe, is 30
30
days in
days.
advance.
15,
15? Okay, but,
because I did look.
and
at it.
again, Mr. Reiner
But
has
still.
done this before, but I certainly would never vote against our bands.
Absolutely not.
And Madam President, I
Yes.
do have a couple questions.
Sure.
If Dr. Klee could get them back to us. According to the policy, too, we also are supposed to be provided with how many chaperones?
1 per 10 students, but I believe it's even,
And we don't know how many students
More
are here because
chaperones.
it's not on here and it's supposed to be given to us as well. And then I'd also like to see concurrence from the principal on here. There's no concurrence or who it's directed to.
so I will direct Mr. Reidenauer to be more timely in the
And like I
future
said-
and include those details.
I mean, we're not going
Thank
to
you.
withhold the kids
No, I
from
would
going
not
this,
withhold
but we need to follow the policy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you. Dearborn Heights Vocational Education Partnership Agreement. The 2019-2020 Dearborn Heights Vocational Education Partnership Agreement is being presented for approval. The purpose of this agreement is to allow Crestwood, Dearborn Heights number 7, and Westwood students to enroll and attend career technical programs operated by each of the school districts. In addition, this agreement will allow Crestwood, Dearborn Heights number 7, and Westwood students to be placed in the Westwood Cyber High School or Ombudsman and advanced placement courses at Crestwood High School. Executive Council determines the program components on an annual basis, which are modified as necessary.
Madam President,
Yes, Sawa.
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 Dearborn Heights Vocational Education Partnership Agreement as presented on attachment 8A2.
Support.
All right. It's been moved by Sawa and supported by Sue that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 Dearborn Heights Vocational Education Partnership Agreement as presented on attachment 8A2. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
how many students are we looking at bringing in from the other districts?
We limit them to 6 per Annapolis and Robichaud. We only have childcare and building construction trades. So each one has up to 6 seats. Usually they
6 seats per class or 6
No.
seats per
6
program?
seats per program.
Program.
And what about advanced placement?
There's no limit on that, so we don't send any kids out for advanced placement, but they are sending kids to us. So we get their per pupil expenditure for the time they're here.
Okay, is that it? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you. Williams Early Childhood Services Agreement. The 2019-2020 Williams Early Childhood Services Consulting Contract Agreement is being presented for approval. The purpose of this agreement is to have an early childhood specialist consultant to assist the Crestwood School District in the fulfillment of the Michigan Department of Education Great Start Readiness Program, GSRP, grant requirements. The consultant agrees to fulfill multiple duties and responsibilities inside and outside the classroom. The duties may be amended at any time during the agreement period through written agreement of both Crestwood School District and the consultant. See attachment 8A3.
Madam President,
Yes, Ms. Senior.
I move that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 Williams Early Childhood Services Agreement as presented in attachment 8A3.
Have support?
Support.
Okay. It has been moved by Lynn and supported by by Ed, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 Williams Early Childhood Services Agreement as presented in attachment 8A3. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms.
we had this discussion last year, and I was told that we will be getting someone in the program that was graduating that was able to fulfill these obligations. Isn't that the case? Why are we still contracting if we have a person that's
This is
able to-
a financial arrangement that is more cost-effective for us to hire a consultant than hiring somebody to do that position in-house, because that would include not only the salary but benefits. So this
But
is...
the in-house, we already pay the benefits and we already pay the salary, and it would be a lot cheaper than $20,000, wouldn't you think?
We don't have someone to do that in-house.
I thought that we had a graduate, remember?
I don't recall, so I'm sorry, I don't
We had
remember
this
that.
discussion last year.
I don't remember. I just don't remember.
And the only way
Did
we
we?
can run GSRP is with someone like this with the credentials. So
Okay, well, that's what you guys told me last year.
Do you have a name? Do you remember a name?
Yeah, I do. Emily. Remember, we had this discussion.
Now I vaguely remember.
Yeah,
I don't recall that.
'cause I was the only one that voted no last year.
Well, evidently something has changed.
Well, is that okay, so, Madam President, is that something that should be tabled so that we can discuss this in greater detail? If that's the case.
Does she have the certification? That's the question, because
I don't know.
last year we were told, I was told, that she's going to have the certification to, pass this through. So I'm wondering, is this the case now?
I think she's doing her student teaching right now.
She's done with her student
Okay.
teaching.
Oh,
So that's
she
why.
has certification, but I don't think it matches this
Okay,
certification area.
then I guess I was misinformed.
okay. All right, then, ready for a vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you. Lease agreement between the Salvation Army and the Crestwood School District. The lease agreement between the Salvation Army and Crestwood School District is for the purpose of operating the alternative education program for the Crestwood School District students.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Miss.
I recommend the action that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 lease agreement between the Salvation Army and Crestwood School District.
Support?
All righty. It's been moved by Ms. Fawaz and supported by Ms. Sinia that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 lease agreement between the Salvation Army and the Crestwood School District. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, and I have 4 informational items. Enrollment continues. We continue to take enrollment at the Board of Education office from 7:30 to 3 p.m. daily. Please check our website at www.csdm.k12.mi.us for enrollment requirements, or call our office for information at 278-0906. Parents can pick up a sheet with the requirements for registration at our office at 27235 Joy Road. School opens. Crestwood schools opened as scheduled on Tuesday, September the 3rd. Thanks to the construction and custodial crews who worked over the Labor Day weekend. I would also like to thank the patience of teachers who could not get into their classrooms on their teacher workday, and many of whom came in on Labor Day to set up their rooms. New traffic patterns and additional parking spaces at some of the buildings really improved traffic flow. I do want to remind parents of students who drop off at the high school and every school to pull all the way around the loop and only drop off where there is sidewalk. We cannot have students crossing between cars when dropped off in the passing lane or cars double parking. The long backups on Beach Daily can be eliminated if you drop your students off early and do not wait until minutes before the opening bell. Once again, thanks to the taxpayers of the district who made all the renovations possible and for your continuing support of the Crestwood School District. Home football game. Crestwood Chargers football had its first home game last Friday. It has its second home game this Friday, September the 13th, against Romulus High School. Come out and support your home team. And finally, open house schedules. Each school will have an open house for parents and students during the month of September. Actually, the whole public is invited to come see our buildings. Crestwood High School's is Tuesday, September the 10th. Highview Elementary School, Wednesday, September the 11th. Kinlock Elementary School, Thursday, September 12th. Crestwood Accelerated Program, Tuesday, September the 17th. Riverside Middle School, Wednesday, September 18th. And Hillcrest Elementary School, Thursday, September 19th. All elementary open houses will be from 6:30 to 7:30. All parents are invited, as is the whole community.
Okay. If that is it, I would, yes, did you have something?
Crestwood Accelerated Program, what building is?
That's at Hillcrest,
Okay.
grades 2, 3, and 4.
So it's
Right,
six
okay.
to 7:30.
So Hillcrest is on the 17th and the 19th?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
CAP is a school within a school.
16th. Isn't it the 16th?
No, it says Tuesday the 17th and Thursday the 19th.
Do I have the wrong calendar?
This,
Mine
our
says-
calendar says the 16th.
Oh, that's the calendar that got handed out today.
Right.
Well, that might be a typo then.
It is, the 17th and 19th.
17th.
17th and 19th.
Thank you for the correction.
Thank you.
Oh, so there is nothing on the 16th.
Okay,
which is
it's time in our agenda to acknowledge public comments. I would like to say before I open it up, this meeting of the board is held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. This is not the time to debate or argue. In order to permit a fair allotment of time to participants, speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The president may extend this time to 5 minutes per person when needed. Up to a half hour is provided for public and input. Defamatory statements or personal attacks will not be tolerated. With that said, I would like to open up open up our meeting to, Mr. Abdulhat.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I just came late to the study session the last 15 minutes, and it's very, very disturbing to me what I heard inside. This board appointed people to follow up on how the money is spent, the $35 million. And I am one of the 3 people who were appointed, and I felt that you don't want us to come and look or even to ask questions. And I always, said, okay, maybe they know better than I do. But what I heard inside, that money was paid on contract before anybody looked to see if the job was done properly, or there is some inspection was done by the plant Moran, Mr. Engineer Imad, whatever his last name.
Ahmed Beasley.
Ahmed Beasley. That's his job. He's getting, this company getting millions of taxpayers' money. What they are doing, I went to Kinlock, and I can walk you and show you how many defects there is at the ceiling and around the building, and nobody noticed. I told Nadia about it. I don't know if she passed it to the other side. I am so upset that I feel like we are shorting our children from the money which was supposed to go for them, for their building, for their safety, for their education. And I feel this board did not do their job. I am going to be very, very, very blunt with you. I feel you have not done your job by approving any money before you made sure that inspection was done on every project, that acceptance by city inspector or state inspector, and they just okayed it, that it is okay. Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Sue, for walking and at least bringing to the light some of the defects which are in Crestwood. I appreciate your time and your effort, but we still short. We did not do our job. We did not spend that money properly, especially when I look at building $1.5 million. You bought it for $250,000. I'm still trying to comprehend how could this, happen in this district. I am sorry to tell you, I'm going to start recall for this board who are eligible in January. And this is not personal. This is taxpayers' money wasted in a way which was not the proper total. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to respond. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to. First of all, some of us did not agree with the way that things were happening, and we did not agree we didn't vote on this. Secondly, I'd like to say that, yes, I have walked many buildings. I have walked many buildings with Ed, and I've seen this go on. And third, the past administration that was here was an administration that kept everything in the dark. And when I, and especially me, and I have witnesses to say it, when I would ask a question and bring this stuff to light, I was constantly attacked. So I'll be honest with you, I will not take blame for this, because I was part of the proactive team that tried to fix this, and I have helped to fix this. That's why you see that seat empty. Thank you.
I would also like to say, Mr. Garcia and I walked through the schools. I know we're not supposed to talk. But Mr. Garcia and I walked through the school last year, and Mr. Garcia showed me windows, gaps in the doors, holes in the tile, and we brought, at that very night, we brought it to the superintendent's attention and to Mr. April's attention.
And business manager.
And yes, and the business manager, and they said things were going to be taken care of. I asked Mr. Garcia tonight again, because I was in the building earlier this week also, I've got something to say about that too, but he said the holes in the floor, and you could take a yardstick and put them down into the hole in the floor, have not been completed yet. So we did take these things to the administration, and they were told that they were going to be taken care of and that we weren't going to pay until it was done, and it wasn't. So I will assume that we didn't do more than we could, but I am not taking full responsibility for that. We did bring it to the administration, and they chose not to listen to us.
The other thing,
Madam
Madam Chair,
President.
if I can, I'm sorry. One more thing I'd like to say. If we had, which I've been fighting for, the right person in charge of district operations, we would not be in this position. If we had the right person that had the eye to go around and pick up on the stuff, we would not be in this position. And I will stand behind that decision.
She took 7-8 months with pay. I understand her husband died. My
I
father
understand.
died. My mother died.
Yes.
But
Point of order.
you have 3,000
Yeah, that's-
children.
Point of order, it
More
should be to
important.
items that are pertaining to the board and business. It'd be the next speaker.
Okay, you're done. All right, Mr. Bazzi?
Good evening. My name is Hassan Bazi again. I mean, this is disturbing, but I got a couple items I need to speak about here. And, Ms. President, if I exceed my time, would you allow an extra minute here or so, just in case?
Okay.
It's more, I want to be educated about a couple items here. I know, we're discussing about the administration and the superintendent position. It would be very wise and brave for whoever think that there is wrongdoing to come forward, and let's work on finding a way to correct things. Mr. Abdelhaq just mentioned about recall. I'm supporting him. And there is a lot of people in this community supporting this because we don't want to get into a point after all what we've done as a community helping the district here that we feel that we were betrayed in a way about how the money is being spent, how the district is being run. And I know right now we're in the process of looking into a new superintendent for the district, and it took a long time asking about this. Now, my question is this, and this is like I want to be educated a little bit here. I see a lot of hiring going on, and I see something that between Ms. Berry and Dr. Klee about the process of hiring. Now, if we are in the process of looking for the new superintendent for the district to run the district, and she or he will be responsible for the way this district is run, why, and this is a question here, why are we, with all due respect to Dr. Klee, and I see what he's trying to do and help in this time until we get the superintendent, why are we going full task hiring, especially the important position like assistant principals right now? I mean, why can't we wait until we hire the new superintendent coming on board? He or she will try to be a part of the decision maker to pick the right person. I mean, because there is no chemistry, there is no connection between what I saw in the past between the superintendent and some of the staff or the teachers in the district. I mean, is there a reason why can't we wait a little bit? I mean, we're talking maybe within 30 days here. What's the deadline for the superintendent? I don't have the...
November 1st.
November 1st, couple more months. I mean, are we that desperate to hire the new hiree right now, especially like the assistant principals, or can that be wait until the new superintendent has a say of the people that... Maybe I should address this to you, Dr. Klee, here. I mean, and I'm asking for an answer here. I mean, do we need to wait? Do we need to hire these important people in these positions? Why can't we wait
Madam
and
Chair.
give the?
Madam Chair,
no,
if I may.
wait. Just let me finish my thought here. Why can't we wait until the new superintendent come on board and let he or she be a part of the people they want to choose to be a big help? I mean, going forward with this. I mean, I understand. Is there a reason why?
If I may, I'm going to respond to that. That has been definitely suggested by the board, but it has not been
Like suggested by the board to who?
to postpone on all hiring. A few of us have definitely said that, I being one of them. Whoever wants to, there has been a few that have agreed with that. But it still continues to happen even though we've asked for exactly what you're saying.
I wholeheartedly agree with you.
So do I.
Well, I mean, it's not
On a
about
personal
agreeing
note,
or
I agree
disagreeing.
with
Now
you.
I'm saying this to you guys represent this community here. We elected you to run this district. Why don't we stop all the hiring right now? And why you all of a sudden, I don't want to go further with what I have, okay, but I think we should stop until we get the new superintendent here and let, again, she or he be part of the decision making to hire the person that they can understand.
This is
what
why I vote no.
So, I mean, where are we going with this?
That's
Is there
part of
something
it.
that we need to really...
Are you kidding me?
That's part of it.
We all said we wanted hires to be weighted on Solwa.
We did.
All of us did. I'm sorry, Mr. Bazey.
No, that's
I don't
okay.
mean,
That's
I don't
okay.
want to argue
I think
amongst
that
ourselves.
we are dealing with some serious issues right now.
We're
here.
looking
I mean,
forward to a new superintendent.
Well, I
and we are
understand
looking
that.
forward to change.
Yes.
what-
May I
Yes.
answer the
Yes, you
question?
may.
And please, there's nothing personal. I see what
All
you're
right,
trying
I
to
know.
do here. I mean, and you have all my respect, Dr. Klee. So it's about, go ahead.
We have students in the classroom, like the speech-language pathologist we hired tonight. If we did not hire that, we would be in violation of state and federal regulations to provide that service to students. So it's not like,
No, I got 2 seconds left
those jobs just don't continue to exist. There's a need for those people in those positions.
Well, then it's done.
So you can't just wait 3
Well,
months.
good enough. I agree with you on
to
this
fill a
one.
position.
What about the assistant principal that was
Exactly.
hired here in the
We
in
hired
the
2
high school?
assistant principals at the middle school. If we didn't hire those 2, it would be a disaster at the middle school. Talk to any teacher of Riverside Middle School now, and they'll say it's been a great positive experience hiring these 2 people. They've changed the culture really in the very first couple of weeks of school. So we can't just say we can't fill positions. Students need to have those services.
Okay, we've doubled the time for this, and so we will have to move on to the next person, Mr. Bazey.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Bob Haddis, I might ask for an extra minute or 2 also. But I want to comment basically on the last meeting and so forth. And I know Mr. Garcia made a point of order, and I think it's incumbent on all members of the board, next time the chair or anyone gets out of order and it gets down into what you may perceive as personal attacks, that somebody on the board makes a point of order, and either the chair relinquishes the chair and have someone else step in and reserve comment. But I would also suggest if there's going to be a back and forth, that maybe a moment of some type of rebuttal. Otherwise, don't get into it and let it die at that point. With respect to this postings that I'm hearing about this evening, I think that may be the proper way to do things and so forth, but I think maybe in this district we might have to look for something a little extra to energize the situation, to probably bring in more candidates into this process. Maybe there's other methods and so forth of doing this, I don't know. There was a comment also that our board members or someone made this statement, and I think we know, but that you're not educators. Actually, you are educators, because your decisions on this board impact everything that goes on in this district, from the point of approving the superintendent, because the superintendent's going to make recommendations and so forth. And some of you have been here for quite a while and so forth, so yes, I look at you as educators in that regard, in the broad sense. You're not the teacher that goes in the classroom, but the decisions that you make on that board definitely impact on everybody here. And the main purpose of my coming here today was, and Dr. Klee brought up some of that, we got to get into all the scores and so forth. It's really difficult, and to analyze all the data. But most of it's summarized for you, and if you go on and check the Michigan Department of Education, you get an idea of how we're doing versus everyone else. In 2018, and Dr. Klee, I'm sure you're well aware of what our position was out of what they're reporting, 666 high schools. We were number 353, I believe, and this year we're 396. If you don't mind, I'm going to pass something out to you, and it's going to also show you our percentile average score for Crestwood was 41.7. It's in the lower end. It really is. And this curriculum, or the scores have been pretty level. I'm not casting blame on a curriculum director. I'm casting blame maybe on everyone. Our board, our superintendent, everybody, the parents, because they're not innocent in this process also. And it's incumbent, if you really want this district to go to the next level and serve as an example, and bring more people into this district that are going to look at it and say, hey, this is a district that I want to come to. I won't even repeat other scores, because for me to go into all the data and so forth, but I will read this to you. These rankings,
That was 3 minutes.
and this was done by School Digger, which you're well familiar with. School Digger calculates school rankings based on M-STEP, social studies, SAT evidence-based reading and writing, SAT math test scores released by the Department of Education. These were, and if you don't mind, I'll hand each one of you. I made copies for each of you. I want you to see this, because I want you to look at it yourself. And I want you to spend the time that it really takes to analyze some of the data and what they have our demographics. Some of our demographics are a little misrepresenting.
Okay, Mr. Haddis, if you would like to pass those out, we have to move on.
Okay,
We
well,
made
let me have-
we made a firm decision at the study session that it was going to be 3 minutes, and that was going to be it.
You asked
And
me
I know.
also have the discretion like you gave Mr.
I
Bazzi,
gave
and you
discretion,
said
and I gave you an
students-
extra
you
5
said
minutes.
Students are our main focus.
And they
I
are.
think it's critical
I,
that you look at
Mr.
this.
Haddis, I agree with you. That's why I'm letting you pass this out.
You wanna see this?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, next.
And if you want to move forward in the future, honestly, start looking at these test scores. We're in the bottom third, and we've been there for quite some time. And if there's a rebuttal, I certainly would welcome an opportunity to rebut anything else.
Ms. Janoon, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Good evening, I'm sorry, too.
Hi. So I feel like I've been a broken record because I've asked for the same couple of things, well, the same thing over and over and over again. And I ran into Mr. DeMarco the other day at Riverside, and I was told that he didn't have that information for me, that I needed to get employment history. He needed to get employment history from workers' comp, and he couldn't tell me when an employee was off or wasn't off. And that was a direct conversation I had with him in the office at Riverside. I know he wasn't telling me the truth because it doesn't seem possible that your human resources guy wouldn't know when somebody was and was not at work and what their dates were. So I find this to be the same thing over and over and over again, and I have emailed Dr. Klee along with Mr. DeMarco, and I have not received a response again. We're going on 30 days from when I've sent it to you. I'd like to just finish because we'll get way off. And so that's one thing I've asked for over and over and over again. I'd like to ask questions because I heard you guys talking in the back about the AP thing and how long is it going to take for them to do whatever they need to do to figure out what we're going to owe. And I know you don't know how much we're going to owe, but apparently we're going to owe quite a bit of money. The next thing is I did have a teacher reach out to me again about the hiring process. I know you touched on that a little bit, but the idea that it's posted everywhere or one place for everybody to see, your teachers would like to see that they at least get an email. Now, it happens sometimes, but there was a counseling position that was opened up at the high school, and a teacher reached out to me and said, again, I had to find out from another teacher that there was a position open, and I would potentially have been interested in that position. I want to say something, and I'm not going to say names right now, but she'll know who I'm talking about. When you have a board member that takes to Facebook to bash me and includes employees in that chat, employees of this district, to say things about me, and I'm getting screenshots of a conversation where I'm being called a liar and that I am slandering. Nothing I ever say is without merit. Nothing. And I've heard much more than what I've shared, and out of respect for people, and myself as well, I've refrained from repeating things that I know to be fact. But when board members want to go and take to Facebook to bash people, I suggest they really reconsider doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Janoon. I said thank you, Ms.
Oh, I'm
Janoon.
sorry. And I don't know, Dr. Klee wanted to
That's
respond.
fine.
So you don't want to respond to the FOIA?
Well, I did respond to you. We consulted our attorney.
You respond
And-
to you emailed me back?
I replied to your last email saying that we had provided everything that our attorney said we were required to.
I did not get an email from you.
Okay.
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Garcia.
I know that we discussed this at the last meeting, so I'm going to just reiterate this again, that anything that is being requested on that FOIA be turned over to the party that's requesting the information.
What is the reason that it
Unless
wouldn't be?
there is something in there or a council has advised not to for whatever specific reason, if there's anything in that FOIA that needs to be turned over, turn it over and just be done with it.
We have turned over everything
Okay,
that's in our possession.
That's fine. But if it's not being done and we continuously have this, I'm sorry, let me restate that, and we continuously have an individual coming forward saying, we're not getting it, something's falling apart here. We're not getting to the middle
There
of
was
it.
another page, I know that,
There
because
is
she's
another
asked for it
page.
Yeah,
three
so
times.
there-
And
if-
Ed, Mr. Garcia, I'm sorry.
I just want
The
you to make sure you
information-
get what it is
yeah,
that you've
The information that I
requested.
asked for is no different than the information I received just prior dates.
Right.
And it seems rather silly, because honestly, I've refrained
It-
from contacting an attorney because I'm trying, I don't, like,
I know.
it just seems
I-
silly that I have to do that.
And we've asked it just,
So what do I have to do to get that information? I have to talk to an attorney? I mean, like, really? Really? I have to talk to an attorney? I mean, I have an attorney at my disposal. To be very honest with you, I don't want to do that.
I understand. I do understand. And we've asked for everything that is within the
It is-
letter of the law to be just submitted to you.
And it's exactly like I said, just different dates. I didn't ask for personal information. I didn't ask for just dates. Did you guys check with your attorney to see if that's what was told to you guys, or are you just taking Dr. Clay's word for it? Did your
No.
attorney tell you guys that he couldn't give me that information?
Do you want those?
Okay.
Yeah,
Frank?
So I know the answer to that question then, and then I will have to take things into my hands then. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Yami. I just wanted to make a really quick comment based off of what was said earlier in the conversation regarding, or in the meeting regarding our school's ranking in MSTEP or just overall. I took that and believed that, like, oh, okay, well, we are improving. But overall, the school's rank, or Crestwood's rank, the high school's rank, has actually dropped. So in 2018, we were ranked 356 out of 666 schools, and we are now ranked 393 out of 606. So our school ranking has actually dropped. So our curriculum is actually not doing better. We are actually falling behind even more with each passing year. So what worries me is maybe overall, if we're talking about the whole district and we're saying, oh, elementary and middle school and high school, but what is actually being looked at when our kids are applying for college are our high school grades. So if our high school grades and our high school scores are dropping, that's a big worry for parents who are going to be sending their kids to this district. If my kids are going to be leaving high school with less of an education than, you know, a neighboring district, what makes me want to stay here? What makes me want to tell other people to move here, put their kids in these schools? There's nothing. I have nothing to tell anyone. This district is doing better, doing great. Bring your kids here. So it's sad. I have 4 kids, and every day, every year, I question. Every year. So.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
you have to consider the source. This is schooldigger.com. At the next board meeting, I'll bring our U.S. News and World Report high school ranking, and it's very different.
I have that report.
Okay, any more public comment? Okay, now it's time for school board members. I would just like to say, we are trying our best. We are moving towards change. We have done everything we can. It's fallen, a lot of it, on deaf ears, and I will leave it at that. I am very concerned about vaping. I understand that Michigan is pulling vapes off the shelves, but our kids are dying. There's a lung infection that you can get from vaping that will kill you. It's no longer a cute thing to do when you're a teenager. I can remember smoking cigarettes, and that was horrible. But vaping will kill you sooner than a cigarette will, even though I do not ask to smoke cigarettes. But this vaping is very serious. I read a huge article in the newspaper, and we've got to stop our kids from doing this. It's not cute. I know it's flavored. It's like gummy bear and this and that. It can cause a serious lung infection that will put our kids at risk to die. So please, parents, be aware and don't allow it. Secondly, I did come into the school this week with Mrs. Ansonik, who was very sick at the time she came in. But we went in through the wrestling room. My God, people, the mats on the wrestling room floor were in such deplorable condition. I can see why people were getting skin problems, and I won't go any further, but we need to replace those mats on the floor and the ones that are stuck to the wall that are falling off when someone runs into them. The gym looks fantastic. I got as far as the gym. The gym looks fantastic. The weight room, not so good. But our gym is to be proud of. And with that, I'll leave it open to other board members. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have to say, a few of us came in on Labor Day to make sure that the school was ready. I know that the custodial staff was working over hours, and I'd like to thank them for putting in all those hours
Yes.
to take care of that.
They
It was
worked
hot.
night and day.
Yes, it was hot. It was a lot of work, and thank you for all that you did. And there is a lot of work to be done. Please bear with us. I am 100% in agreement. We want change. We don't want this district to continue down the path that it's going.
We don't.
That's why we are in this position that we are, and we are searching for a new superintendent. And I promise you, we're moving to the next level. It's not going to stay like this. Okay? And please bear with us another month, and hopefully we can start going down the right track, right direction. Just bear with us, and thank you for understanding.
And may I just one more thing? There's a custodian here, Mr. Gonzalez, and he has been instrumental in. He's a wonderful leader, and he has been helping this Crestwood staff with everything, and not been picking out anybody to make fun of or to criticize. They've all been working together wonderfully, and it's such a different condition when you've got a group of people that are working together to get something done, and they're working well together.
As a team?
As a team. So thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, for your help. Yes. It's in there.
Yeah, just real quick, I'd like to thank Dr. Klee or whoever, or you can share our thank you to whoever was responsible for putting the board packet information online, because it is available online now, prior to the meeting.
Joanne Williga.
Yeah. So everything that's in our packets are online.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
If I could, 2 comments. I wanted to reiterate what Mrs. Berry said about kudos to the custodians. There was quite a few of us here on Labor Day. In addition to quite a few of us, there was the custodians, there was a lot of teachers, there were coaches, there was all kinds of people here working really hard. So it's appreciated, and these people are using their time to come in and prepare because they care. My other comment was I happened to be at Riverside at dismissal time last week on Friday, and there were cars blocking Warren Road, like 2 cars in from Beach Daily. This is dangerous. It's dangerous to your kids. It's dangerous to other drivers. We have a rule that you're supposed to be going into the golf course and driving around in a circle to pick up kids to avoid the traffic on Riverside. The police are aware of this problem, and they said that they are waiting, until everyone kind of readjusts. But people will be ticketed, and the tickets are for protection of your children. So while you may not think it is, it is. We can't have kids running out onto Warren. So please, parents, be respectful. If there's not enough room in the Riverside parking lot, go to the golf course. It makes your child have to walk maybe another 50 steps, and trust me, they can do it. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Kaminsky. Anyone else, Ed?
Just a couple things. Yes, myself and several of the board members came through last week, and then, of course, on Labor Day, and then, of course, during the week. And then thank you, Sue, for coming in on Friday. I will continue to be and try to be those eyes to help. I do understand that there is a process, and the punch list is that final thing that says we're ready to close this project out. I will make sure that punch list is not complete until everything in this building, as well as the other buildings, is complete. I know that Mr. April has done a fantastic job in being the steward of these dollars, but he's also not the person that is the total, how do I say it, He's not the project manager. So there's someone else that we will be holding responsible, and he will be at the next coming meeting to answer the questions that we have regarding some of the things that have not been done. I'm very aware that we were only looking at the critical needs of this project, but when you're looking at windows that have not been secured and have not been caulked, and sills and so on, it's very disheartening, not only to myself, but it's also disheartening to staff members that expected this to be done and it's not complete. So we will continue to work with this administration to make sure that this final project comes to fruition for, number one, the students, and then followed by the staff that use our buildings. I want to apologize to Mr. Hattis for sidebarring over here. We are, that's what we were sidebarring, so we are concerned, and we want to make sure that we not only work together as a team up here, but that we are also listening to what our community has to say to us. You're the pulse. We have to have our fingers on that pulse to know what's going on. I apologize to Mrs. Janoon. I am going to make sure, because it was said again, and I don't want to have to say this again.
I can't believe
but
it.
I want to make sure that anything that is requested by the order of that FOIA under law that must be submitted to the requesting party be turned over immediately. Dates, simple things like that. I am not an HR person, but it should be very simple to say, you started on this date, you left on this date, you returned on that day, you're back on that date. It seems like that's all that is being requested.
Process.
And it should be requested, so we hope that we can do that. Thank you. And in regards to the aquatics manager, the aquatics program was something that was dying, was almost a dead program. I'm going to say probably about
It was a dead program.
5 years ago.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't
he
for
brought it
Mr.
back.
Trevor Hulker for coming in and jump-starting this, we wouldn't be here. So I know that this is important, not to our students per se, but to the community members that sign up their preschoolers, and then of course the seniors. I think it's just an important program. So I appreciate what it is that you say, but I know how
I know
important
what
it is
she-
to keep
why she
something
did
like
it.
that going.
I
Because if
understand.
it doesn't, it will not be there in the future. So hopefully the person who comes in, which I think is here, will be just as creative as Trevor was and work with the administration, but most importantly work with the community and making sure that they know that it's available to them and they continue to sign up and use it. So with that, I welcome back all of the student staff and yes, our custodial staff that worked way into the late hours, as well as
The whole weekend, the whole holiday.
I got to give one more, Mr. Joel Fabers, who was here in sweatpants and
Yes, he was.
sweatshirt, helping, moving furniture, washing down boards,
Yes, he
moving
was.
mops, and helping to take out the trash. So,
And I just
Kudos.
I just like to add
Thank
one
you.
thing. I was coming here on Labor Day. I found out by pure accident that there were board members coming up, and I was asked not to come.
Wasn't by me.
I just went, no, it wasn't. I called, Miss Barry said, where are you?
Where
I said,
are you?
I was told not to come, and the reason was so silly, I won't even tell you.
Yeah, don't even say it.
I'm not going to. But I want you to know, I hope Mr. Bazzi and Mr. Abdulhaq have seen what we're trying to accomplish, what Miss Barry has said, what I have said. We have made requests not to hire. We have, for the past, I don't know, since Miss Barry got on the board and we became friends, we have been
Barry's been shaking it up.
we have been looking into things and checking things out. Please know that we're working hard to change this district, and it's going to change. But change comes obviously a little bit slower than we would like, and it's going to happen. We're getting a new superintendent. Things are going to change. We are working for our kids. Know that. We're not playing games up here. I haven't been here for 22 years for nothing. I love this school district. I graduated from Crestwood. I've lived here my whole life. I was born into a little house on Robindale Street. And my mother is still there at 96 years old. I love this community. And I would let nothing happen if I could stop it. And that's what I've tried to do. So hopefully you'll bear with us and change is going to be coming.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
With that, pardon me.
All in
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming.